All right, now some tips on naming your variables. There are some strategies, gotchas, and best practices to help you give your variables names that will serve you well as a programmer. Remember me talking about our high school math class, let x equal width and let y equal height. The problem is in a computer program, when you have hundreds, maybe even thousands of lines of code, farther down when we see x and y, we can't tell what they mean just by looking at them. So the first tip is to give your variables a name that represents the value that it's holding or representing. So for example, a login of first name, we know what's going to be stored in that. Cart total, if we're scanning through thousands of lines, we're going to see that, we're going to know what value that represents at that point in the code. The next important thing, it's a bit of a gotcha for naming your variables, is variables need to start with a lowercase letter or an underscore, that's the underscore, and can't have any spaces in them. So that's a gotcha that will screw up your code if you put any spaces in it or start with anything but a lowercase letter or an underscore. Now my tip for best practices is, as you can see here, I've got two words squashed together, first name and cart total, and I've put a capital letter N and a capital letter T on the start of the word. So the reason I did this is because in every programming language there's a series of words referred to as reserved words. So there's special words that have meaning in that programming language that you can't use as a variable name. So if you put a capital letter inside your variable name, it will never conflict with any of the reserved words. No reserved word has a capital letter in the middle of it. So that's the best practices, to give it a name that has some kind of meaning to the value it represents, no spaces in it, starts with a lowercase letter or an underscore, and has an uppercase letter in the middle of it.